Hi, my name's Tony and I'm from the SUP company, and in this video, well, we compared two fantastic touring boards from Fanatic, the Enduro 11 foot and the Enduro 13 foot. So the Fanatic Enduro, well, what are they and who are they best suited to? Well, for a long time now in the Fanatic lineup, we have had the touring boards called the Fanatic Rays. The Ray Airs, particularly as an inflatable board, are at 11'6" and 12'6" overall. Very, very popular models. Personally, I'm a big fan of the 12'6" by 32-inch wide model. I really like it because it's very pulled in at the nose, pulled in at the tail, yet it retains a good amount of stability around the center and the main standing area because it's overall 32-inch width. But those two assets of a pulled in nose and pulled in tail mean that that board glides and truly performs like a really nice touring shape. However, with the growth of touring and stand-up paddleboarding as a whole, people are starting to look now for boards that offer more glide, perhaps stability still, but in a slightly different way, and we'll come on to discuss that in the Enduros and how that's achieved. But it's boards that give that little bit more. And the feedback that we gave to Fanatic and also some other countries and other dealers were giving back to Fanatic is that really we needed a board that achieved that in the Fanatic lineup. And well, to be fair to them, they've stepped up to the mark and they've delivered us the Ray Air Enduro. So the Enduro compared to the Ray certainly is slightly more refined in its overall outline in that the width is reduced. So in the 13-foot model, you come down to just 30 inches in width. And then this, in the 11-foot model, you drop down to 29 inches in width. Now, that might sound like a reasonable drop when compared to something like the Ray Airs that we've had for so long, and those boards, as I said earlier, I'm a big fan of. So that drop in terms of overall width would, on paper, in essence, actually dramatically affect the stability of the boards compared to something of this width. But what Fanatic have done is they played a neat trick on the overall outline of the board. They haven't had to pull the nose in as aggressively as they've done in the Rays to induce that amount of glide. It just has a very parallel outline in the Enduro board and it runs all the way back down to the tail. The tail itself is slightly pulled in, but nowhere near so as much as you find in the Ray Air boards. And that means one thing, well, stability. And this overall outline really does lend itself very, very well to stability. Importantly though, in reducing the overall width of the Enduro lineup, you're actually able to get the paddle much nearer the center line of the board. So as we're achieving a more vertical paddle, and therefore a better, more efficient stroke with which to drive ourselves forwards through the water, we are in essence improving glide, efficiency overall, and also tracking because the paddle is that much nearer the center line. So the Enduros cover the ground far, far easier and more efficiently than you get on the Ray Air lineup. The slight reduction in stability, but nowhere near to the level that you would think that it is on paper at least. So the Rays themselves, well, you come down to this, the 11-foot model, and then you go and compare it to the 13-foot. Well, why would you choose a 13-foot or an 11-foot Enduro over one or the other? And simply, well, I would suggest it comes down to you on the water and how you're looking to use the board, as well as really find ease of living with the board on land. A smaller board, such as the 11-foot Ray Air Enduro, does really lend itself to becoming more manageable in terms of that portage and getting to your launching point or recovering yourself from a point back to the car park in the vehicle if that's how you've arrived. You've also got in essence as well where there's a big difference in overall volume and literage of the board. It takes a lot less effort to inflate the 11-foot than it does the 13-foot. On the water, the 11-foot is that little bit more manageable. If you are not quite at the point where you're inducing a tail turn to actually get the board to respond and swing around quicker, then the 11-foot is going to be more responsive in that regard, while the 13-foot is going to be less responsive, but the overall increase and offset of that is that you're going to see an improvement in tracking overall. So the 13-foot board is going to deliver better tracking when compared to the 11-foot board. For me though, the key factor really is glide, and glide on the 13-foot board over and above the 11 is going to be dramatically improved. Roughly speaking, if you imagine every paddle stroke, so the effort you put in is 100, it's how much of that 100 you're going to get back as forward motion. Now, on touring boards, generally as a rule, you're going to be in the upper end of that efficiency scale. But if you imagine that 100 score, we put in 100, how much are we going to be rewarded with going forwards? On an 11-foot board such as this Ray Air Enduro, with its slightly reduced width, more parallel outline, I would suggest that you're going to see somewhere around 75, maybe low 80s of your 100 back. However, when you come to the 13-foot model with its longer waterline length, and it's really important to remember that nearly all inflatable paddleboards and hard composite boards of this ilk, really it's their displacement and their waterline length that dictates performance overall for glide. You're going to see, roughly speaking, a 10 to 15% gain for every foot of board length that you add. So you're almost at the point with the 13-foot Ray Air Enduro that the 100 you put in, you're almost seeing all of that back as forward motion. So the board wants to run, it wants to glide that much more than the 11-foot. The other reason why I really like the 13-foot over and above, for the uses that I would have, over and above the 11-foot is really real estate. A bigger board, particularly in the touring instance, gives you more real estate, more room, more volume and space within which to store luggage and spread out the load that you're carrying. So if you're wild camping, if you're out for a couple of nights on your board and you want to cover distance with ease and carry additional kit, while you've got bungee and securing points on the 11-foot fore and aft on the board, you also have that on the 13-foot, but you have a lot more space in order to do it, in order to spread the load across the board, just make it feel and handle that little bit better. You've got that option there as well. So if you are looking to carry, kit, cover distance with the ease that you're looking for and the best level of efficiency, I'd be inclined to go for the 13-foot board. If you're looking for something that is still delivering good levels of efficiency and yet remains that little bit more manageable on the land and also the water, then really the Ray Air Enduro 11-foot is the board for you. Thanks for watching our video. If you've got any questions about what you've seen, why not give us a call in the shop or head over to thesubco.com. To stay up to date though with all of our videos, well, make sure you subscribe up here and hit the notification bell. But to see our next video, well, take a look up here.